Welcome to Older Militaris Radio TV, and we're lifelong Catholics. And what we do is all for free, and for our love of Jesus Christ, and for our Holy Mother, the Church, and we'll defend our Holy Mother, the Church. So we're going to be talking about famous Catholic converts. They're not saints, they're just converts. Gary Cooper, James Earl Jones, Hank Aaron, John Wayne, Jonathan Rumi, Shia LaBeouf, Alec Guinness, Tim Conway, and Christopher Lee. Welcome, Brother Alexis.
Thank you, AJ, for having me on Order Militaris Radio TV. This is going to be very interesting because why don't we know that these are converts? I don't even know they're Catholics. I sometimes think with all the useless homilies we hear from the pulpits, they could at least give us some Catholic history. And, you know, if we knew that these were Catholics, we would be more inspired, I think, to realize that our Catholic faith is considered important enough to convert to by some even famous people. Okay, so everyone's probably heard these names and knows something about sports or entertainment. So who's the first?
Gary Cooper.
Gary Cooper. Now, this is a very famous actor, especially if you like black and whites. You've seen a lot of Gary Cooper films. And if you're so young that you don't know who Gary Cooper is, you've missed civilization. So you can watch your black and white films, which you'll find very edifying, most of them. When was he born? What religion was he?
Okay, so he was born Frank and James Cooper, born in Helena, Montana, May 7th, 1901. Younger of two sons of English parents, Alice and Charles Henry Cooper, and they were of the Church of England.
And he was born in England, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Helena, that's where the headquarters of our corporation, Order Militaris Inc. is. So, what was his road to conversion?
His road was very difficult because he started out as a cowboy, high Anglican cowboy in Montana. Then his parents decided to move to LA. So when they moved to LA, he began getting into acting and started his career in silent films. And throughout the years when he was acting, before he was ever thinking of getting married, he did have, share relationships with the leading ladies he was with. But what got him to convert? Let's get down here. Was his let's find out where his name of his wife is. Veronica Balfi. And there he and his wife and soon-to-be wife started to get to know each other. And there, they got married, and he always attended the Catholic Mass with his wife, but he was just going there, then going to his Anglican church service afterwards, and then his daughter was born on Maria Veronica Cooper was born on September 15, 1937. It was here around this time that an actress named Patricia Neal decided to try to do her darndest to break up his marriage and to stop him from converting. where she wanted to have nothing but him and only him. And she was a real temptress. She went from a guy after guy after guy when she got into acting. She ended one marriage. She's like, if I could do that one time, I can do it again. And there's alleged things saying that she was pregnant with Gary Cooper's child, but it's only alleged, and it's also alleged that she got an abortion because Gary said to do it, but that is also untrue. So, but his wife stayed with him, a great woman. So on June 26, 1953, Cooper accompanied his wife and daughter, who were devout Catholics, to Rome, where they had an audience with Pope Pius XII. Cooper and his wife were separated at the time, but the papal visit marked the beginning of the gradual reconciliation in the following years. It was there where he contemplated his mortality and his personal behavior, and started discussing Catholicism with his family. He began attending church with him even more, and met with their parish priest, who offered Cooper spiritual guidance. After several months of study, Cooper was baptized as a Catholic on April 9, 1959, before a small group of family and friends at the Church of the Good Shepherd in Beverly Hills.
Wonderful. So, wives out there, you can do great things. And just a little clarification. So when they were married, since only one of them was Catholic, it was a valid civil marriage, and it was only connubium in the sense of the church. It wasn't sacramental marriage. But once he converted, then if they took marriage vows in the church that day or beforehand, it would have become validated as a marriage. So that's wonderful. And he lives the rest of his life as a Catholic and is buried in a Catholic cemetery, right?
Yep. He died in a state of grace.
Mm-hmm. And you can go visit his grave, and AJ, I guess we can add the link there to his gravestone. Very humble grave. I'm kind of surprised, if the Catholic pastor in that cemetery should, put a monument there saying great convert Gary Cooper. Leave him between a bush and a stone, literally hidden away. It's quite amazing, and that's really not respectful, because hey, converts have done something great. They've gotten rid of a lot of fake errors. They've gone through a lot of false narratives and thrown them away, and they've sought the truth. They've done a lot more work to become a Catholic than most of us to stay Catholic. Okay, our next famous convert,
James Earl Jones.
Now he's really famous. Now he's an actor, right? The westerns. And
he was in the movie Field of Dreams. He was the voiceover for Darth Vader.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And he was born in Akron, Utah, Mississippi on January 17th, 1931 to Ruth, a teacher and a maid, and Robert Earl Jones, a boxer, a butler, and a chauffeur. So he converted while in the U.S. Army.
Oh, really? What war was he in?
So he never went into war, but it was right after the Korean War ended that he attended infantry officer basic course. Then he attended Ranger School and received his Ranger tab. Then he was assigned to the headquarters of the 38th Regimental Combat Team, then went to Fort Leonard Wood, but his unit was instead sent to establish a cold weather training command at the fort, former Camp Hill near Leadville, Colorado. So in between that and there, he converted to Catholicism.
Okay, that's amazing. You must have been quite impressed by the chaplain. So you military chaplains, you can do wonderful things. So this is before he became a movie star.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now the great baseball player, Hank Louis Aaron.
Now this surprised me. I had never heard anyone claim Hank Aaron. The famous baseball player was Catholic, and you think that some pastors always talking about sports, they'd have mentioned this.
So let's find out when he was born. He was born February 5th, 1934, and he was converted while playing baseball.
No, how did that happen?
From 1954 to through 1976, regarded as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, he and his wife first became interested in the faith after the birth of their first child. A friendship with a Catholic priest later helped lead Hank and his wife's conversion in 1959. He was known to frequently read Thomas à Kempis's 15th century book, The Imitation of Christ, which he kept in his locker.
Wow, that's amazing. So you can find God, you can find Jesus Christ and the Catholic faith anywhere, and you notice that the birth of children is very important. I know it psychologically for men, the birth of their first child makes them realize there is a creator. So, who's the next famous Catholic we're going to talk about?
John Wayne.
John Wayne. Now I know this one. He was a real hard nut to convert, and he had. When was he born? How many wives did he have? And how important was his fourth wife?
Yeah, so he was born May 26, 1907, and okay, so his first wife was Josephine Sahines, Esperanza Bayer, and his final wife, Pilar Rylette. So, his last wife helped him convert to the Catholic faith, where he was converting on his deathbed. And he was dying from stomach cancer, and he converted shortly before that. Then he was seeing his life more seriously, and his final wife helped him to convert, and his grandson is also a Catholic priest.
Wow, that's really impressive. So he had a bad habit with drinking. His last wife saved him from that. So he was a tough character. Yeah. So who's our next famous convert that most people don't know?
Yeah, so let me line it up here. Okay, need the R's here. So anyone who's a fan of the Chosen TV series, Jonathan Roumie, who plays the role of Jesus Christ, when he begins to take on the role before it, he converts.
But what religion was he before?
Greek Orthodox.
He was Greek Orthodox and playing the role of Jesus Christ got him to convert to the Catholic faith. Now that's quite surprising. How did we have any information on how that worked out?
Okay, so this is weird. Okay, his father is Egyptian. His paternal grandfather is Syrian.
Mhm.
His mother, an Irish Catholic.
Okay. Mhm.
He was baptized in the Greek Orthodox Church and reconverted to Roman Catholicism after moving from New York to the suburbs. And then he started, doing the horrible TV shows. Then after that, he left the secular TV world for the Christian TV world,
Mhm.
where he played Jesus in the movie, the Polish movie Saint Faustina. That was his
Okay.
first time playing Jesus.
Mhm.
Then he goes on to play different roles and deals, which then leads him to his current one, where he's playing Jesus in the TV series Chosen.
Okay. So there's the influence of the good mother. She evidently allowed the father to baptize her son in the father's, I wouldn't say the father's religion, but in the father's right. As far as it sounds like they were Melkite, Orthodox, or Greek
Yeah.
Orthodox.
So, then we have Shia LaBeouf. He started out born June 11, 1986. He started out on the Disney Channel on the show Even Stevens. He did a lot of weird movies throughout his years, and finally, when it came time to play Padre Pio, and he started to learn about the faith more, converts, thanks to the Capuchins there.
What religion was he before?
Jewish.
It's quite amazing. Well, Padre Pio is quite an example. If you read his life and all the testimonies, you gotta recognize them. There's a miraculous there. Far more miracles than any prophet in the Old Testament worked. So, Sheila Booth. And we're coming to the end of our list. Who's next?
Sir Alex Guinness.
Okay, so some people know this, and some people don't know this. This is one of the great actors of the British stage. And a lot of people think he was into sorcery or witchcraft, and that's what the world says, but they're just maligning the man, quite the contrary. He plays Saruman, I think, in The Lord of the Rings, the film, and a lot of other famous roles.
That's Christopher Lee, and yeah, they think he's
Oh,
in
excuse me.
But
Yeah,
Alex Guinness was the original Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, I'm confusing. Yeah.
But
Yeah, they
they
thought he
also
was
said that about him too. He's
Mhm.
like, when he was playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was already a Catholic.
Now, how did he come to the faith?
So, while serving in the Royal Navy, Guinness had planned to become an Anglican priest. In 1954, while he was filming Father Brown in Burgundy, Guinness, who was in costume as a Catholic priest, was mistaken for a real priest by a local child. Guinness was far from fluent in French, and the child apparently did not notice that Guinness did not understand him, but took his hand and chatted while the two strolled. Then the child waved and trotted off. The confidence and affection the clerical attire appeared to inspire in the boy left a deep impression on the actor. When their son was ill with polio at the age of 11, Guinness began visiting a church to pray. A few years later, in 1956, Guinness converted to the Roman Catholic Church. His wife, who was of paternal Dark Jew descent, followed suit in 1957 while he was in Ceylon filming The Bridge over the River Kwai, and she informed him only after the event. Every morning, Guinness recited a verse from Psalm 143, "Cause me to hear your loving kindness in the morning." And so from 1956 to August 5th, 2000, he was a Catholic.
Really? That's quite amazing. His wife also converted and she was Jewish. So there you go. A little boy there, God used to convert a great actor. And many people convert when they see the beauty of our liturgies or the beauty of our churches or the wonderful miracles like incorrupt saints, like the recent Sister Wilhelma Lancaster of Missouri, which is the news today. And is that it, or do we have a few more?
We have the great comedian Tim Conway.
Okay.
He converted.
Tell me something about Kim.
So
I'm not so up on comedians.
Thomas Daniel Tim
Who's
Conway.
Kim Conway?
December 5th, 1933 to May 14th, 2019. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio. He was on the Stephen Allen Show back in 1961. He was in the original McHale's Navy TV show with Ernest. He was his role was the bumbling, naive, insane Charles Parker.
Oh, okay. So I know, yeah. Okay, I was a fan of that series as a kid. Okay.
And he had his own show, The Tim Conway Show. Then from 1975 to 1978, he was on The Carol Burnett Show. And Tony Rossi interviewed Conway on November 20th in 2013 on his podcast, Christopher Close-Up on Pathos. And Conway revealed that he had converted to Catholicism. This was also reported in an interview with Raymond Arroyo on EWTN. So, yeah.
What year? Or was it a private affair at the end of his life? Let's go back to this list here. I don't say what year, but he said he converted to Catholicism because he said he liked the way the church is structured. Okay. Okay, I guess maybe because internationally, something of that sort. The Catholic faith is the true faith, but that doesn't mean we Catholics give the best example. Nevertheless, we are the church Christ founded, and we've been around longer than everyone else. And we're an international family that has learned through many scandals to stay together despite the hard times. So we know something about mercy. We're not a puritanical church. Like many Protestant churches have a small argument, they kick other people out. Yes. It's that it? Or you want to add one more converter? Christopher Lee. Okay, yeah, Christopher Lee. I think we got to talk about Christopher Lee because he's more known by the young people because he played Saruman. May 27th, 1922 to June 7th, 2015. He was born in London, son of Lieutenant Colonel Geoffrey Trollope Lee of the 60th King's Royal Rifle Corps. His wife, Countess Estelle Maria Cardani de Sorzano,
Lee's father fought in the Boer War in the First World War. His mother was an Edwardian beauty. He was painted by Sir John Lavery, and he was from a broken home. His parents separated and divorced 2 years later after he was born. He also served in the military for the British Army. He fought in the Second World War, and but they wouldn't let him go because of his mother's famous background and his father's great service to the crown. So he enrolled in the military academy, then left and volunteered to fight for the Finnish army in the Winter War against the Soviet Union.
Wow, that's a really courageous biography. And what did he do after the Winter War? Did he come back to the?
Yeah, he's like, okay, you showed your merit. Get over here and join the RAF.
Oh, really? So he was in the Battle of the Britain?
Yeah.
And how many enemy planes did he shoot down? Do we know?
Okay.
You fly?
You made him join the RAF, but they made him do intelligence work.
Oh, okay.
That's still kind of secretive.
Yeah. So when did he become a Catholic?
Okay. It was right after the Second World War. He becomes a Catholic after the Second World War when he finished his military service.
Okay.
So even though he played Dracula and all those other things, and Saruman and all those things, he despised occultism and used it to warn people of the dangers of the occult.
I noticed a recurring theme that these Catholic actors are always given sinister roles. I wonder if that has something to do with the producers who don't like Catholics.
Yeah.
So he was a Catholic most of his life then. That's quite
Yeah.
amazing. Mm-hmm. So the next time you pull out an old film and watch one of these actors or old baseball things about Hank Aaron, tell your friends, your kids, your relatives, he was a Catholic, he converted. And I think you featured men who converted to the Catholic faith. Are there, will we have maybe another episode? We'll do famous women converts?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, okay. So that will be very interesting too. Thank you, AJ, for having me on this fascinating program on famous Catholic men converts.
This is Order Militaris Radio TV signing off. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.